Okay, let's kick things off by asking a big question. Does AI really think? We see models generating detailed step processes that look a lot like thinking. These are often called large reasoning models, or LRMs. They give the appearance of solving problems piece by piece. But recent research from Apple is seriously challenging that idea, suggesting that what looks like genuine reasoning might actually be more of an illusion. So, if it's not true thinking, what exactly is going on? That's what a new research paper from Apple dives into. It's titled The Illusion of Thinking: Understanding the Strengths and Limitations of Reasoning Models via the Lens of Problem Complexity. The core question they set out to answer is whether these models are truly reasoning or just simulating the process by pulling patterns from their massive training data. To figure this out, they designed some really clever experiments using classic computer science puzzles. In this video, we're going to break down exactly how they set up these tests and, more importantly, reveal the surprising and, frankly, a little concerning limitations they uncovered in today's leading reasoning models. Okay, so how did Apple actually test if these models were truly reasoning? They used a clever approach involving classic computer science puzzles. Think of games like the Tower of Hanoi, checkers jumping, river crossing, and blocks world. These aren't random choices. They re-perfect because you can easily make them harder just by adding more pieces, more discs in Hanoi, more people to cross the river, and so on. This lets researchers crank up the difficulty in a really controlled way while keeping the basic logic the same. But here's the crucial part. They didn't just look at whether the model got the final answer right. That's how a lot of benchmarks work, but it doesn't tell you how the model got there. Apple's team built environments where they could simulate and check every single move the models proposed, analyzing up to 64,000 tokens of their internal thinking process. This step-by-step evaluation is key because it lets you pinpoint exactly where the Model's logic might be failing. Plus, since they generated these puzzles from scratch, there was no chance the models had seen the specific solutions in their training data. This ensured they were testing genuine problem-solving on novel tasks, not just memory recall. So, they picked these puzzles: Tower of Hanoi, checkers jumping, river crossing, and blocks world, because you can easily scale their difficulty. For example, in Tower of Hanoi, you just add more discs. More discs mean exponentially more moves needed to solve it. This allowed them to create simple, medium, and truly hard versions of the same puzzle logic. To see if the reasoning feature actually helped, they compared different models. They looked at Claude 3.7 Sonnet, testing it both with its step-by-step thinking, enabled and disabled. They also compared DeepSeek R1, which is trained for reasoning, against DeepSeek V3, a standard version. They even threw in some OpenAI models like O1 and O3 Mini later on. Crucially, all models were given a generous token budget, up to 64,000 tokens, to ensure they were just running out of space to think for each puzzle variation and each model. They ran the test 25 times to get reliable results. And remember, they weren't just checking the final answer. They were simulating and validating every single move the model generated. The key metrics they tracked were the overall success rate, how many correct steps the model took before failing, and critically, how much thinking measured by token usage the model actually did at different difficulty levels. This detailed approach gave them a much clearer picture than just a simple pass-fail. Alright, so what did they find when they put these models to the test in these controlled puzzle environments? The results were pretty consistent across the different puzzles and models, revealing 3 distinct zones of performance based on how difficult the puzzle was. For simple puzzles, the regular models, the ones without the explicit reasoning feature enabled, actually did better. They were faster and more accurate, because they could just quickly give the correct answer without spending extra tokens trying to think step by step. It was like, why overthink something easy? Then, for medium difficulty puzzles, the reasoning models started to pull ahead. Their ability to generate those intermediate steps, that chain of thought, helped them navigate the slightly more complex logic and find the solution. They used a lot more tokens doing it, but they were more successful than the non-reasoning versions. But here's where things get really interesting and, frankly, a bit concerning. On truly hard puzzles, all the models, regardless of whether they had the reasoning feature or not, experienced a complete accuracy collapse. We're talking accuracy dropping all the way down to 0. For instance, Claude 3.7 thinking could handle Tower of Hanoi with 8 disks, which requires 255 moves, but completely failed at 10 disks, which needs 1,023 moves. DeepSeek R1 failed even earlier. None of them could even touch a 20-disk Hanoi puzzle, which needs over 1 million moves. This wasn't just a dip in performance, it was a total breakdown. Now, beyond that complete collapse on hard puzzles, the researchers found something even stranger. Something they called a counterintuitive scaling limit. You'd think that as a puzzle gets harder, the model would try harder to solve it, maybe using more tokens for its internal thinking process, right? That's not what happened. As the puzzle difficulty increased past a certain point, the model's reasoning effort, the amount of tokens they used for their step-by-step thinking, actually decreased. Yes, you heard that right. They had tokens available, but they just stopped trying as hard on the toughest problems. This drop in effort directly matched the drop in accuracy. It's like they gave up when it got too difficult. And to really nail down where the failure was happening, the researchers tried giving the models the explicit step-by-step solution algorithm for the Tower of Hanoi puzzle. But guess what? The models still failed at the exact same complexity points. This strongly suggests the limitation isn't in figuring out how to solve the problem, but in the ability to accurately execute a long, logical sequence of steps. It's a failure in sustained symbolic manipulation, not just problem-solving strategy. So, what does all this tell us? The Apple research team suggests that while these LRMs can generate steps that look like thinking, the process relies heavily on pattern recall from their massive training data. When they encounter truly novel or complex problems that require many sequential logical steps, that's where the illusion cracks. They struggle with genuine symbolic reasoning. This study has definitely sparked some debate in the AI community. Skeptics, like AI researcher Gary Marcus, point out that simple algorithms for puzzles like Tower of Hanoi have been around for decades, so why can't these advanced models follow them? Others suggest maybe the models are trained to avoid overthinking complex problems to save resources, or that language models just aren't built for this kind of step-by-step efficiency. And it's not just puzzles. Similar limitations have shown up in other tests, like math benchmarks. Models perform better on older math problems that might have leaked into their training data, but struggle more with newer, novel problems, just like they did with the generated puzzles. It seems the illusion of reasoning is strongest when the model can rely on patterns it's already seen. So, the big takeaway from this Apple research: it strongly suggests that while large reasoning models look like they're thinking step by step, it's often an illusion. Their performance collapses on complex, novel tasks, and they struggle with sustained logical sequences, relying more on pattern recall than true symbolic reasoning. This highlights the need for new approaches in AI. What do you think about these findings? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more tech deep dives. Thanks for watching.